Hello and welcome, everybody. This is William again with O'Neill Marketing. We appreciate you guys all coming out and joining us once more for the September installment of our ACA Roundup webinars. As always, we really appreciate y'all taking a little bit of time out of your day as we cover some important updates, news, and everything else that we want you guys to be aware of now that we're heating up and moving towards open enrollment. So without any further ado, go ahead and get started here. As always, just a little recap of the kind of structure of these webinars. We're doing them every month. Our goal for these is to cover industry news, any updates from O'Neill Marketing, generally just things that we want our agents to be aware of, put them down here in perpetuity. And then as always, again, with most of our webinars, we'll be sending out the webinar slides to everybody who registered. As soon as we're done here, should be coming to you about 5-10 minutes after we finish up. And if you do have any questions during the presentation, go ahead and submit them to the Q&A area on the left side of your screen. We won't be doing live Q&As, but if you submit a question over there, we will see it and it will be saved, and so we'll be responding to all your questions via email later on. We'll go ahead and let's get it going with some industry news for the month. Wanted to really, mostly for this month, hit on some Health Sherpa updates, mostly just some information about some new features they're unrolling, and some other stuff they are putting in place, again, as we warm up and get ready for open enrollment. First one of these Health Sherpa updates I wanted to talk about is some updates that they're making around the agent of records settings that you'll see on Health Sherpa. Let's see here. Oops. All right. And so the big change that they're making first is, well, first of all, let me just say the agent of record updates have been split into what they're calling two separate phases. So phase one started on September 20th, so mid last week. What they did during that, which some of you might have already noticed, is Health Sherpa began displaying the assister in the status area as well as the agent of record. So the assister is the person who helped the consumer complete the application according to healthcare.gov, because that's where they're getting all the data from. So you'll see the assister and the agent of record. They might be the same thing, but just know that the agent of record, that's going to be the NPN attached with the policy. And then the assister is going to be the agent that helped them complete the application. So if you did an application and you use an NPN override, you'll still see the agent of record being the NPN of whatever you attach with the policy, but then the assister will likely be you who actually completed the application with them, since that is tracked by healthcare.gov. And in addition, during the first phase that they started up last week, they added as well for the agent of record, where you used to see other party if it wasn't you or someone in your organization, you will now see the name of the agent of record as they're listed on healthcare.gov. And this is one of the changes that I am personally really excited about. I know in the past, if, for instance, a policy yours was taken and enrolled by another agent out there, Health Sherpa would only tell you that it is the agent of record is an other party, and then it would be incumbent upon you to go and do a full healthcare.gov redirect, do a whole lot of other things in order to find the name of the agent in order to take that back to your client and confirm that they authorize those changes. So with these changes now, instead of where you used to see other party, you should start seeing the actual name of the agent of record, which will hopefully cut out some of the extra work that it took. So now if you think a policy has been taken, you'll see that you are not the agent of record, and then it'll be a bit easier to confirm with your client as to who the agent of record is and also who they have authorized to make any changes to their policy. So that's super important. I think that'll help clear a lot of this up. But then that brings us into the second phase, which they said will be released before open enrollment. They have not given any firm deadlines on this part, but they've said before open enrollment, so we're expecting within the next month or so, but we'll just have to wait and see for specifics. But during the phase two, Health Sherpa will start sending out notifications to agents when the AOR information might have changed on your application. And that's going to help this even further, right? Because in the past, the only way you would have really noticed is if you were being very on top of your Health Sherpa exports and renewing all the information, and then just really checking through everything, which obviously the bigger your book of business gets, the harder that becomes, definitely. When they unleash this, if another agent comes in, changes the policy, makes themselves the agent of record, the previous agent of record will start getting emails from Health Sherpa notifying you that the agent of record on these policies has been changed, so that hopefully, if you're staying on top of this, you can go see that notification and then contact the client, make sure that it was or was not authorized, and if it wasn't, you'll be able to hopefully change that back to yourself as soon as possible, which will hopefully cut down on any lapses in commissions, any confusion with any of the contacting the clients or the carrier. So we're really excited about that too. I know this is a pretty big issue that happens with a lot of agents where policies will get taken and sometimes it might not get noticed for a month or so. So hopefully when this is up and running, again, as always, keep an eye on your emails, but especially for these emails from Health Sherpa, so that if one of your clients has their AOR changed, you can be aware and hopefully get that fixed as soon as possible so that you're not losing out on any of those commissions. And the next Health Sherpa update I have for you guys is they are implementing what they're calling a bronze to silver nudge redirect. So what essentially this is, so when a client who qualifies for cost sharing reduction enrolls in a plan that is bronze level, so a plan that is not utilizing their CSR, they're now going to start seeing a prompt like what you're seeing on the screen right now that's going to ask them to essentially just reconsider their choice and will direct them to choosing a silver plan instead of a bronze level plan. I'm sure a lot of you know this is really important because if someone qualifies for cost sharing reductions and they're not choosing a silver plan, they are leaving a lot of benefits and oftentimes, money when it comes to deductibles and out of pocket max. They're leaving that all on the table if they choose a bronze plan or something that's not a silver. So what Health Sherpa is going to do is they're going to come in and if they see you're eligible for CSR, but you chose a bronze plan instead of a silver, they'll have that pop up there that'll try to redirect you to choose a silver plan instead and kind of explain the benefits of doing that. And then if a client is hard set on that bronze plan, then they'll have to make the choice to click no thank you and continue on. They've also said that this may be notifying the agent as well. So it'll be another email from Health Sherpa to keep out, especially as we look for renewals and people changing plans during open enrollment. So if you see that any of your clients are maybe about to choose a bronze level plan when they should be doing silver, hopefully you'll be aware of that so that you can contact your client and explain to them the benefits of the cost sharing reduction and tell them why they need to choose a silver. And then maybe help them to find a plan that will better satisfy all their needs and maybe hopefully save them a little bit of money too. And then the last Health Sherpa update that I really wanted to mention today was their integration with Kentucky Health Benefits Exchange, KHBE. It's the Kentucky state-based exchange enrollment platform. If any of you guys sell in Kentucky, I'm sure you're already familiar with the platform. So I'll open up just by saying this is not a full EBE integration. So it's not like what they were trying to do with Georgia, where you could do the entire application on Health Sherpa. Not quite there yet, but what they are doing now is that if you have Kentucky clients who do not have an existing Kentucky Health Benefits Exchange account, you can now quote for those clients right on Health Sherpa, put in all their information, search the plans, so you'll be able to do all the doctor and prescription filters you need. And then when you add the plan to the cart, you'll get redirected to the Kentucky Exchange website where you'll be able to complete the application. And they've said that any information as possible will be pre-filled in that application. So hopefully take a little bit of work off it. So you'll quote them on Health Sherpa. You'll get redirected to the Kentucky Exchange website, finish the application there. And then after the application is completed, you'll get redirected back over to Health Sherpa. And then the really nice thing too is that your Kentucky client's information is going to be populated in your Health Sherpa dashboard. So just another state where, again, you'll have to do the application on Kentucky's website, but you'll at least be able to do accurate quoting on Health Sherpa, which a lot of people think is a good bit easier than some of the state-based exchanges websites. But then also too, you'll be able to see all your clients' information saved on Health Sherpa instead of having to jump back and forth between Health Sherpa and the Kentucky Exchange site. And so on that note, the deadline for Kentucky Exchange certification is coming up very soon. You'll have to complete your certification by September 30th. So what is that? That's That's tomorrow. So if you have not already done your Kentucky Exchange cert and you are selling in Kentucky or you need to, go ahead and get on that right now. It's not a terribly difficult certification. You should be able to do it in an afternoon or a few hours, depending on how much time that you have on your hands. But just to say, if that is something you're looking to do, go ahead and get started now. You can never take care of these things too early. Always better to get them done before the deadline, just in case. Then the only other thing I'll mention on this too is that HealthSherpa has announced that they are offering a broker bonus for any new to market enrollments that are completed through HealthSherpa's Kentucky exchange integration. There are some more stipulations to it, like they have said, it has to be new to market. You're also going to have to do the entire process, so quoting, application on Kentucky website, and then you'll have to make sure you're redirected back to HealthSherpa for it to count. But if you can do all that, then you will be getting a bonus from HealthSherpa. So if you need more information on that bonus or you want to see some of the fine print details or any of the other stipulations, go ahead and check out some of the emails that HealthSherpa has been sending out. Or alternatively, you can always contact HealthSherpa support team for more information and details. I'm sure they'd be happy to send that over to you. All right, next up, I have some updated news on the North Carolina Medicaid expansion. We talked about this a few months ago, it must have been 2 or 3 months ago, where we kind of announced this. But in the meantime, the Medicaid expansion in North Carolina was delayed. What had happened is that they had voted to expand Medicaid in North Carolina, but it was contingent on the budget passing, which, as sometimes tends to happen. The budget got caught in debates over various other non-Medicaid expansion related things. So the Medicaid expansion that was planned to happen a bit earlier was delayed kind of indefinitely, but recently they announced that the budget issues were all kind of solved. So when that goes into effect, North Carolina's Medicaid expansion will go live. So they've said that that's going to be starting on December 1st of this year. So I think that's important to notice too, because it's going to be right in the middle of open enrollment, but it's becoming effective on December 1st of 2023. So you will still need to take it into account when you are enrolling your clients in 2024 North Carolina plans. And for those of you who are not already aware, the real impact for ACA agents of the Medicaid expansion is that it means that, again, beginning on December 1st, a North Carolina consumer who wants to enroll in an ACA plan with subsidy is going to have a minimum income of 138% of the federal poverty limit in order to qualify for that subsidized ACA coverage. So before then, it was just like it is in Florida, Georgia, most of the Southeast, it was just 100% was the baseline. So if they had more than the 100% federal poverty level, they were able to qualify for subsidized ACA coverage. But with this change, that's going to be bumped up a bit. So they'll have to have 138% of the FPL in order to qualify for the subsidy. So consumers that now have under 138%, they're going to need to apply for North Carolina Medicaid coverage first. And then if they are denied that Medicaid coverage, at that point, they can enroll in a subsidized ACA plan. So I wanted to mention that because it did get a little delayed, came out at an odd time of the year, but it is going to be happening. So it is something you should certainly be taking into account. I wanted to really quickly mention a new resource that Anthem released for brokers. They're calling it the Anthem Broker Launchpad. And it's kind of just one central hub that lets you access all of Anthem's tools and portals just from one place. That has a little bit of details about what each tool is used for. I know we get a handful of questions about this, whether you need to go to the toolbox, the broker hub, or whatnot to do the specific tasks you're looking for. So you can now go to the Launchpad and it'll tell you, depending on what you're looking to do, it'll tell you whether you need to go to the broker hub, producer toolbox, or their employer access portal. So if you are selling Anthem, I'd recommend go ahead and check it out. I think it helps to clarify the use of a lot of their different tools. If you are with Anthem, you probably have already gotten an email about it. If not, you can access it through this link, or you could just probably Google Anthem Broker Launchpad to find it. Wanted to again circle back and talk just a little bit about the CMS consumer consent, specifically that they have finally now released some updated FAQ documents that have more information about the recent consent changes that CMS adopted back in June. So the document that they released in mid-September addresses most of the common questions that have been asked by agents. I looked through the document the other day and I can confirm pretty much all of the questions on that document are questions that I have personally been asked by agents. So a pretty good document if you're looking for that, because also you're getting the answers directly from CMS, so you know that everything is completely compliant and it's what CMS is looking for. So if you have any questions about the recent rule change, or you're just looking for a refresher, or a question in there that you're unsure about, that document there, I think, is a really great tool and a good resource if you're looking for it. The FAQ is linked in this slide right here, and it is in a PDF form. So if you want, you can download it, save it, and then view it later when you need. It's also nice too, because you can search through it if you're looking for something in particular. I've been using it a handful over the past week, and I think it's very useful. But then separate from that, CMS also maintains a separate FAQ page for agents and brokers that can be accessed again through that link right there at the bottom. The benefit to that is that, as opposed to the other FAQ document that's just a PDF and it's static, this page is just a web link, so it's updated frequently as CMS gets more information. So that FAQ PDF document, really great, but the farther we get away from mid-September, the more data it's going to get. So that other FAQ link for CMS is a really great resource. There's a lot of good stuff on there, especially related to consent and some of the other nitpicky kind of questions that you might have during enrollment. So would highly recommend that everyone check those out, bookmark the links, and look through them if you haven't already. All right, everybody. So now we're going to switch gears over to some O'Neill marketing news. Again, we're leading up to open enrollment. So I think, as most of you guys expect, a lot of our news and updates are going to be on the contracting side of things, because that is really one of the big focuses at this time of the year, is to make sure that all of you guys are scheduled to get all the appointments you need, and that everything is going through so that you'll be ready and up and running by November 1st. Hopefully before. So the first thing I wanted to mention on that front is some of the transfer blackout dates that are coming up. This is really important because if you have an appointment with these carriers, but it's not under O'Neill Marketing, and you wanted to move it back over to us, you're going to need to start thinking about that and get the wheels moving on that. Some more so than others. So Molina and UHC, their blackout dates are starting on October 1st. So again, in just a few days. Oscar is the 15th of October. Aetna is November 1st, and Ascension is also November 1st. One thing I will mention, though, these are just transfer blackouts. As of right now, we haven't received any notice from carriers saying that they are going to do a full contracting blackout. So if you have new appointments that you need, again, new appointments that you have never had before, we have a little bit more time and wiggle room with those, since it doesn't seem like most carriers are going to be stopping contracting. But if you have any transfers, it is really important that you get those requested and submitted as soon as possible. So the dates listed on the slide are the dates where your request and your paperwork will have to be submitted by. So if you've already submitted something, you are fine. The blackout date will not stop the carrier from processing anything that's already been completed and submitted, but they will not accept any new transfer submissions after the date. So especially like Molina, UHC in particular, but also Oscar, that's only a few weeks away. If you need to transfer those, go ahead and request the appointment as soon as possible. And then once you get all the paperwork and the forms that need to be signed, again, go ahead and complete those as soon as you can and get them submitted before the blackout date. As long as they're submitted before that blackout date, carriers will still process everything in whatever timely manner it takes them. Next up, again, more contracting updates for you. Again, our contracting team just really wants to remind everybody to submit all of your appointment requests as soon as humanly possible, especially important for transfers, as we just mentioned on the last slide, due to blackout periods and all of that. But also, even just with your new appointments that you've never had, carriers at this time, we're only a month out from open enrollment, so they're experiencing really high volumes of contracting requests, and we've been seeing a good bit of delays in the processing and sending of invitations. What we mean by that is that so some carriers, they allow O'Neill Marketing to have the contracting forms with contracting links, and so when you request the appointments, we have that already, and we can just send it to you. But a lot of carriers, what they have us do is, when you request it for us, we have to do some processing on the back end. We fill out some forms, and then we send that to the carrier, and then the carrier sends you the link directly. So it's not coming from O'Neill Marketing. And the reason that's important is that for those carriers that have to send invitations, we're seeing extra delays in the sending of that invitation on top of any delays in processing. So some are taking upwards of 1 month to process. And again, that is after your contracting paperwork is submitted. So just like as an example, if you requested an appointment from us on Monday, right? We might have to send that out to the carrier. They'll process it. And even if we send that out to the carrier on the same day, which we pretty much always do, it still might take the carrier up to a week to process that and send that. So you request an appointment next Monday, you don't receive the invitation until a week after that, so the following Monday. And then again, even if you fill that out the same day, it's probably still going to take the carrier a few weeks to process and approve your appointment. So you can see, even if you requested that appointment on the first day of October, so like October 1st or 2nd, you might still not get confirmed for that appointment until very close to open enrollment. So it's just really important that you are requesting those appointments as early as possible and make sure that you're factoring in the delay in processing on the carrier side. We're still able to get everything done as soon as possible, but the carrier side is where we are seeing some serious delays. So again, just please request your appointments as early as possible. And then beyond that, make sure that you're following up on the contracting paperwork as soon as you receive it. So once you're requested the appointments, look out for emails from contracting at O'Neill Marketing that are going to contain links and instructions and anything else you'll need to know to finish it up. You can also find contracting updates and information on your pending appointments. That's going to be in the My Appointments tab of your agent portal. So just go to My Appointments, click on the carrier that's pending, and then in the box on the side, you can look for either O'Neill notes or comments, and that's going to have some updates there. This is a capability we just started building in to the portal. So we're going to start updating those as insights and statuses come in, but that is another good place to look for those. But overall, I would say the most important thing you can do is just follow up, be proactive about everything. Look out for those emails from contracting at o'neillmarketing.net. And then if you have any questions or you think that anything is missing or you're just confused about anything, don't delay on reaching out. Go ahead and email contracting at o'neillmarketing.net as soon as you can so that our contracting team can see it and they can work on it and they can get everything resolved for you. And then another thing on the portal that I did want to mention as well, we get a few questions about this. It's going to be the notes section of the agent portal. So that's going to be right on the home page, right when you log in the center, right towards the bottom of the screen, you'll see a whole section that's just called notes. So we populate a lot of stuff there, but the main thing is that if we do contracting on your behalf, that is where carrier portal login information is going to be stored if it is needed. So essentially, if we have to do it, sometimes there will have to be a account created or a login needed for that. And so if we have any of that information, we'll put it in the notes section so that you can see it if you ever need in the future. So if you're looking for portal logins and it's something that maybe we would have initiated for you, go ahead and check the notes section because we keep that and some other information there. Just want to mention too, if you go into the agent portal and you're not seeing the notes section, again, it's going to be right on the home page all the way towards the bottom. For some reason, some computers will cut off the bottom of the notes section, or maybe you'll just see the top of it. So if you're on the home page and you're not seeing the notes section or you're not seeing the full notes section, try to zoom out your screen a little bit. Usually if you go to 80 or 90%, you should start to be able to see it. I'm not sure exactly why that is. We're looking into it, but just know notes section, a lot of good stuff there. And if you can't see it, just zoom out the page a little bit. And then another thing I wanted to mention as well is we have a new page on o'neillmarketing.net that's dedicated to open enrollment updates for this year. So again, if you log on to o'neillmarketing.net, not the agent portal, just o'neillmarketing.net, right on the homepage, you're going to see a new button there that just says Open Enrollment 2024 Updates. And on that page, we are adding expansion notes for carriers, any heat maps, plan information, pretty much any resources that they're giving us. We're trying to consolidate them, and then we'll be updating that page. That'll be a really good resource. You can check back as we get new information. And then once we have everything unleashed by the carriers, some of them are still processing and sending us information. But once we have a lot of that, we're going to be fixing up some one-pagers and other resources for all these carriers that I think are going to be super useful for agents so that you can know where the carriers are operating, what their resources are, all that good stuff. So keep an eye out for all that and make sure to check out that page with the updates because we will be updating it as carriers send us more stuff and as more information becomes available. All right, and then the last bit of contracting updates I wanted to let everybody know about. We are very happy to announce that Blue Cross Blue Shield of Nebraska appointments will become available pretty soon. It's not all completely set up yet, but if that is a carrier that you're interested in getting, if you're operating out in Nebraska, I would say this is probably a must have. So if that's something you need, just be sure to keep an eye out for communications from our contracting team. Once that's all good to go, we will be announcing that and we'll be able to get you contracted. So if that is something that you're going to want for open enrollment, just make sure to keep a sharp eye out so that we can get that started for you as soon as it's available. Another thing I wanted to talk about, I'm sure some of you guys are already aware of these, but we have been doing a lot of carrier prep talk webinars where essentially we're having the carriers come in, tell us about all the updates that have been made, tell us about where they're going to be operating this year, some of the resources they have from agents. They've been showing heat maps, updating people on support, and then just generally showing us all the things that they are doing for agents to make all of our lives a little bit easier. So we've already done a good handful in the last 2 weeks, and then we've got a handful more coming up next week. So I'll just run through them really quickly. We got Blue Cross Texas next Monday. That one you don't need to register for. There's a link there where you'll just have to tune in when the webinar happens live. Then the next day, on Tuesday, October the 3rd, we're going to be doing it with Melina. Later that same day, we're going to be doing one with Oscar. And then the following day, on Wednesday, October 4th, going to be doing a webinar with NCD, National Care Dental. I'm really excited about that one. If you're not already selling dental and vision products, I think it's a good thing to add into your portfolio. NCD is a great carrier, and I think they're very easy to get set up with. They got a really great support team over there too. So if you're interested in that or interested in selling dental vision generally, be sure to tune in for that NCD one. And then after that, we also have the following Wednesday, so October the 11th, we've got another webinar with Ambetter. If you had already registered, just know that Ambetter webinar did have to be rescheduled to the following week, but it is still taking place Wednesday, October 11th at 1 p.m. The last thing I want to note about these webinars in particular is, as you can see there, some of them are not able to be recorded, either due to the platform that the carrier needs to use or due to just general carrier restrictions. We always ask to record the webinars because we really think that one of the biggest uses of them is that you guys can revisit them later and have all the resources available, even if you're not able to attend live. But unfortunately, for some carriers, that's just not an option. So particular Blue Cross Texas and Molina, if you're interested in those ones, just know we will not be able to have a recording for those webinars. So if you want to learn more about it, you'll have to join it live. We'll probably have some resources from the webinar, but we won't have the recording. So if you want to see Blue Cross Texas or Molina, make sure to join those webinars live. All the links are right here on the screen. So when we send these out, be sure to check those, register for them, be sure to show up to them because they're going to be really great. And they have so far been very, very useful and informative. And then the last note on that too is that all the previous webinar recordings and all the other carrier prep talks we've been doing, they are saved and are available on the agent portal. So if you log into the agent portal, go to the agent resources tab, click on the public folder, and then go to the videos/webinars section. You'll see it broken down by carrier. So you can click into each of the carrier, and then you'll see if they did one of the webinars recently, you'll see a new folder for the carrier prep talk there. So what'll be in there are the resources and the slides that they gave us for the webinar. And then whenever possible, we have a recording there so you can save it. So you can always at least see the resources. And for the vast majority of them, you can also see a full recording of the webinar too. So if you weren't able to make it, go ahead and check them out there. Again, there was a lot of really good information there. So be sure that you don't miss it. Got an update too on some carrier swag. Who doesn't like a little bit of carrier swag? So if you want to be sent some swag from carriers, looks like we've got some options for that. Got some branded items, marketing materials, other stuff. Don't know exactly what it is yet, but they have offered it up. And if this is something you're interested in, go ahead and just shoot a quick email to sarah@o'neillmarketing.net and just say you're interested in getting some carrier and O'Neill marketing swag. We're also working on some stuff for agents as well, so stay tuned on that. But if you are interested, again, send a quick email to Sarah@O'Neill Marketing. Tell her you're interested in some swag, and we can get it working and hopefully get you some swag so that you all have everything you'll need for open enrollment. I think it's always great to have branded stuff. Looks great around the house. It's great for clients, and some of it is actually very, very useful. I also wanted to briefly touch on the state-based exchange deadlines. I don't have a full list, but I just generally want to remind everybody, me personally, I know they always sneak up on me every year. So I assume a lot of other people are the same. So if you are operating in any states that operate on a state-based exchange, just be extra sure that you have recertified for 2024 and that everything is up and running so that you don't realize that something's missing when you get your first client calling in. So if you have any of those states, again, make sure to double check. We already mentioned earlier, Kentucky, you have to do that by the end of tomorrow. So really get on that soon. Any other states, I'd recommend you check on them as soon as possible. A lot of the other deadlines are in early or mid-October. So I know Colorado is the 15th. Pennsylvania is late October. I think it's the 30th. And then there are a few others, again, that are October 15th in that range. So again, if you're in any of those states, make sure to go ahead and do them. And just be sure to set aside some time to complete those certification trainings. Some of them are relatively short. Some of them are not so much. We've had some that take upwards of 6 hours to complete, even just the recertification. Some much less, but some are 6 hours, even more. There are some where you'll probably have to do it in multiple sittings. So just making sure you are setting aside enough time to complete that well before the deadline. And we just kind of wanted to end this month with just some general pre-open enrollment preparement stuff. Obviously, next webinar in October, we're going to be really getting into the thick of it and probably be a little more dense with all the preparation, but just wanted to say some general things that we think everybody should start working on and start thinking about right now, since we are about to enter October, which is really just the run up and it's all OEP prep. So first of all, if we haven't hit on this enough already today, make sure you are set with your contracts. I would say everybody should log into their agent portal, look at your appointments, ensure that you have contracts in all your licensed states. And if there's anything that you're missing or anything that you want to add, be it new carriers, new states to existing appointments, whatever you need, go ahead and get that started right now. And if you have any pending appointments that are still working, just be sure to check for those updates from contractandoniamarketing.net. Maybe search through your email, maybe search through your spam. And then if you have any questions, again, go ahead and reach out to the contracting team as soon as you can so that we can answer your questions and get everything resolved well before November 1st. Another thing that I would recommend for everybody is to go ahead and check your carrier settings on Health Sherpa. So if you don't know already, if you go into Health Sherpa, look in the top right corner, you're going to see the little gear icon. Click on that and then select carriers from the drop down menu. You'll see a whole list of all your states and then the carriers that you have selected as appointed in those states. So go through that, make sure everything is accurate and up to date, and really just make sure that all of your active appointments are listed. A reminder too that if you're going to use an NPN override by like an upline or Onia marketing or whatever, if you're going to use an NPN override, you're also still going to have to mark that as appointed. So ahead of time, go through those, make sure all your carrier settings are correct. What that's going to avoid is, if you're in the middle of an enrollment and all of a sudden you can't finalize it because you didn't have the carrier check disappointed, you're going to have to exit out of that application, update your settings, click back through the application, and then finalize it. It's a pain. So go ahead and look through it now. Just make sure everything is all set. And then the last really big recommendation we would say for everybody is to frankly just start reaching out to your clients now before open enrollment. It's always a good idea to start contacting them. Usually we say towards the end of October or the middle of October, but it really can't be early enough to just see if they are happy with their plans or if they want to change plans, because that'll help you kind of slim down what you need to get done during open enrollment. So if you have a lot of clients who are happy with their plans, they haven't had any life changes, everything is still the same, they can re-enroll in the same plan, not a whole lot of interaction needed from you, and you can then go and focus on those clients who do need to change plans, or the clients who are having life changes, or even better, focus on getting those new clients in. So reach out to your current clients, see what they're going to need during open enrollment, and if there's anything you can do beforehand, go ahead and knock it out so that during the busiest months of the year, you can just maximize your efficiency and make the most of all your time. All right, and before we leave today, I just wanted to mention the date for the next roundup. That's going to be Tuesday, October 24th, again at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Got the link right there on the screen where you can register. Go ahead and mark your calendars. We'll also be sending out some emails about it so you can register there. We usually try to do it on the last Tuesday of the month. This month had a little bit of change. But we decided to do it the second to last Tuesday of October, just so that we're not doing it the day before open enrollment. We know it's going to be a really busy time. So Tuesday, October 24th, mark your calendars. Probably going to have a lot of good info for you then. That's going to bring us to the end of our September roundup. Again, as always, everybody, thank you so much for coming out today. We really appreciate all your support. As always, if you have any questions about this, go ahead and reach out to our agent support team. The phone number and email are right there on the screen. We are here and we are always more than happy to help you guys. So if you all need anything at all, don't hesitate to reach out. This is really the season where we all want to get prepared to open enrollment. That's what we're here to help you guys with. So again, feel free to reach out. We are here. We are happy to help. Thank you all so much again. You all take care, and I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your afternoon.